What's this dated?
Wow.
You know, this is dated July 12th of 44.
Wow.
That would be of interest, I think. July 12th, 1944. That's when the date that my brother went down. Okay, my name is Ray Larson. I'm a brother of Sonny Larson, or we call him Sonny. His name is really Hilmer Woodrow Larson. Born in 1918 and had just had a birthday before he went down into the Mediterranean Sea. He was just a wonderful guy. He loved the sports. He loved playing golf especially, and he was a wonderful person. And war is a very terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. My parents, my mother especially, just took it very hard. It's a very difficult thing. So my brother was a little bit older than I was. There were 6 boys in our family. 4 of us served in the military. My brother Sonny was the only pilot. The rest of us were in the Army. He was drafted in, it was February of 1942. The war was started, you know, in December of 41. And he was right in the prime of his life. He was 24 years old. One of the first draftees. In the fall of 42, he volunteered for the Air Force. The Army Air Force was all volunteers. Took his training mainly in Arizona, and then in 1943, he'd completed his training and went overseas. We saw him for a few days. They gave him a leave before he went overseas, and he and his squadron landed in Bari, Italy, and that's where they flew out of, was Bari, Italy. In fact, we have every letter that he wrote. My mother kept everything that he sent, and I would say we have approximately 100 letters from him. In fact, right here, I have the last letter that we received, and this letter is dated. It just says Italy, June 8th. 1944. My brother was a co-pilot, and this letter is from the parents of the pilot. And they contacted several other people, several other members of the Air Force, and they're pretty explicit in the run that my brother made. Like I say, it was July 12th. He was on his 31st mission out of Bari, Italy, and they made the run over southern France, a little town called Nimes, N-I-M-E-S, I believe you pronounce that, Nimes. They were attacked by 4 German fighter planes, but my brother's plane made the run. They dropped the bombs and were trying to return to Bari, Italy. About 18 miles, at least this is what the other people and other Air Force people said, is that they were about 18 miles off the coast of France. And for some reason, they were missing 1 engine. There were 4 engines. He was flying a B-17. They lost power, and they radioed that they were going down into the Mediterranean Sea. And the other planes in the squadron circled the area, and they saw some life rafts, so hopefully they thought there were some survivors. But the French sent out some boats to try to find my brother and his crew. There were no survivors. My parents received a series of letters from the War Department, and each one of those said that, here they are right here, I believe there are 4 of them. The letters all state that my brother was missing in action and that he had gone down in the Mediterranean Sea. And they were hopeful that either the French might have been able to pick the crew up, or possibly the Germans might have picked him up and maybe he was a prisoner of war. So the letters indicate that they would continue to look at the prisoner of war letters that the Red Cross received, but none of the people on none of the guys on the crew were ever found, nor were they ever found to be a prisoner of war. Terrible. War is a terrible thing. Nobody wins, everybody loses. And what I would say to the younger generation is, for goodness sakes, negotiate, talk to people. Everybody is a good person on this earth. We don't need to have wars. Because like I say, nobody wins. Thanks, thank you.
Thanks, Ray. Thanks for your time, sir.
Yeah. Heavy bomber training out of Mountain Home, Idaho, B-17, B-24. For some reason, on one of the training missions, a machine gun jumped out of its mount, began to fire bullets around the plane. The plane caught fire, and they crash landed in the mountains in Idaho. 2 of the crew were killed. Luckily, the rest of the crew, including my brother, survived. But so he really, like I say, he was really in 2 different crashes, one here in the States and of course the final one in the Mediterranean Sea. Again, I'd like to make sure that we thank the people who put this whole memorial together. Our family really appreciates it.
The National Broadcasting Company delays the start of all its programs to bring you a special bulletin.
It was announced in San Francisco half an hour ago by a high American official not identified as saying that Germany has surrendered unconditionally to the Allies, no strings attached.